I'm Aqua Alex, and you're watching Aqua Alex Live. Let's learn about tropical fish today. Hello, tropical fish keepers. Welcome to a very special episode of Aqua Alex Live. I'm your host, Aqua Alex Cardinale. How are you all doing today? I hope you are doing great. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to tune into today's video. Whether you're watching this video live or you're catching the video on the replay, I really appreciate your view. So, I am going to do another top 10 countdown, but today I'm going to be counting down my top 10 fish keeping mistakes. That's right, I'm going to tell you about all the mistakes that I've made as a tropical fish keeper. I am not a perfect fish keeper. I have made mistakes over the years, and I'm going to share that with you here on this fun episode of Aqua Alex Live. So I got my first aquarium and I entered the aquarium hobby at the age of 12. And I've been keeping fish ever since then. So currently I am 28 years old. That means I've been in the aquarium hobby for 16 years. And over those 16 years, I've kept everything from datnoids, arowanas, red-tailed cats, tiger shovelnose, bikers, even freshwater stingrays, discus, angelfish, and I've also had saltwater. And I have succeeded in both monster fish, community fish, and saltwater fish, but I have made plenty of mistakes over the years. So today we're going to talk about my mistakes and hopefully you can learn from them. So before we get started, do you guys have any mistakes you would like to share with me? Because I'm always interested in interacting with my audience. So, what mistakes have you made in the tropical fish keeping hobby? Tell me about them in the comments, or if you're tuned in live, post them in the chat. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And like always, my list is not in order. So this is not going to be my worst mistake to my absolute disaster of a mistake. These are just 10 mistakes that I've made as an aquarium hobbyist. Coming in at number 10, buying shady used aquariums. Now, some people get lucky when they buy used aquariums. I haven't had such luck. I have had a lot of problems buying used aquariums. So I am a person that now, when I have to buy an aquarium, it's brand new. That way I don't have any problems with an aquarium. So I prefer to buy new aquariums because of the issues that I've had buying used aquariums. And I'm going to tell you about those issues right now. So the first issue I had was with a used 75-gallon aquarium. And this is back when I was living in Western Massachusetts. So I purchased a 75-gallon tank and stand for $150. And the person that I bought the 75-gallon from assured me that it absolutely held water fine and it was ready to set up and add fish to. So I trusted him. I gave him $150 and I bought the aquarium. I carried it down to my basement and I set it up. I added my filters, the driftwood, I filled it up, and I was getting ready to transfer my fish from their 55-gallon into that 75-gallon. Then all of a sudden, I heard like water dripping, and I turned around and the aquarium was leaking. One of the silicone things had busted, and the tank was leaking gushing out water like someone gushes out blood when they get injured. So I was really upset because now I am out of $150, and I had just moved my filters from my 55-gallon onto the 75-gallon aquarium, and I had to add everything back to my 55-gallon. So I contacted the person that sold me the 75-gallon aquarium, but I got no response. So he likely knew the tank was a leaker, and he found the sucker, which was me, and I was very, very upset about that. So that was my very first shady aquarium experience, used aquarium experience. The next one happened a few years later. Again, this is a 75-gallon aquarium, but the previous owner had warned me that it was more than 10 years old, but he assured me that it was holding water. So I set it up. It lasted for about a day, but instead of the silicone coming apart, the glass actually busted and it cracked, and there was water instantly all over the basement floor. And thank God this was down in the basement, because you can imagine if it happened in the living room, my mother would kill me. But luckily, I had not added fish to the aquarium yet. It was just a bare bottom tank with water. So luckily, there was no fish flopping around everywhere. But 75 gallons on a basement floor is something I definitely don't want to pick up again. And then just recently, maybe 2019, I bought a 125-gallon aquarium here in South Florida for what I thought was a good deal. However, when I took the tank home and I looked in the stand was dirty. It could have used a good cleaning. I mean, there was fish food dumped all over the bottom of it. There was dust and mold and all sorts of debris in it. And after I cleaned it, I brought it in to the house and I set up the 125-gallon aquarium. And luckily, it held water fine. But this used aquarium, my family and I believe, caused cockroaches to come in our house here in South Florida, because I think the person that I bought it from wasn't the cleanest person on the earth. So unfortunately, that's where our problem lied. But now we're living in a much better, bigger house, and now I know to buy new aquariums to prevent any more mishaps with used aquariums. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with used aquariums. I think used aquariums are great for what they are. If you're on a low budget, you may come across a good deal on a used aquarium. For example, that 125 was a good deal, besides the pest that came with it. I have seen close to new aquariums being sold on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, letgo.com, and OfferUp. So if you don't have the money to purchase a brand new aquarium, then definitely check out Craigslist and some of the other marketplace, and be cautious buying used aquariums. Make sure you check for any cracks in the glass. Make sure you check the silicone. Make sure it's looking in decent shape or great shape. Don't buy a tank that has silicone that looks like some of it's missing and some of it's there, because if it's like that, you're guaranteed to have a leak. So, and picking up water on the floor is very difficult, especially if you don't have one of those water vacuums or whatever they're called. All right. My next mistake is a real simple mistake. I'm sure a lot of you have made this mistake, but it's forgetting to add water conditioner to fresh water during water changes. And this is kind of a recent mistake. This mistake happened in July of this year, and also like the first week or so of when I moved here to South Florida. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I lived in Western Massachusetts for a good chunk of my life, at least 95% of my life. I lived in Massachusetts. And when I lived in Western Massachusetts, our tap water was absolutely fine. I never needed to add any water conditioner to my tap water in Massachusetts because the tap water in Mass was great. However, when I came here to South Florida, I filled my aquarium with regular tap water, and unfortunately, all the fish that I had in the aquarium died. And I think it was because of the tap water. So here in South Florida, we have chemicals in our water to combat the chlorine and all the other stuff that the city adds to our water. So, unfortunately, in 2019, I learned that the hard way when I added tap water to my aquarium. I lost the first set of fish. Now, this year in July, the city of Lake Worth, Florida, was working on the water. I guess every July they do yearly maintenance on the water, and they check for contaminants and whatnot. So they add heavy doses of strong chemicals. So I did a large water change, about 75%, and I used Tetra brand water conditioner, but unfortunately, it was not strong enough. I lost almost my entire tank except for my male chocolate cichlid and a couple of other fish. So make sure if you're living in an area where you don't know if your tap water is good or not, that you are using water conditioner. I always make sure that I have water conditioner on hand when I'm doing water changes because I don't want to lose any more fish from not having water conditioner on hand. So you could use Prime. Chem Prime is a great water conditioner. It also will remove ammonia and nitrates. Um, Aqueon has a great water conditioner. I really like the Aqueon water conditioner. And there are some other brands out there as well that you can use. So always make sure to add water conditioner to fresh water during water changes. All right, my next mistake is kind of a funny one, but this is more on me as an aquarium hobbyist, and that is overpaying for tropical fish species. The next story I'm about to tell you is kind of funny. I think you're going to have a laugh at it. So it was back when I was 16, maybe 17 years old, and the black bar silver dollars, Mylia strumbaki wide bars, they were just coming into the aquarium hobby at this time, and they were quite rare. I'm talking about the black bar silver dollars that have the ember blue hook, and the males get the deep orange coloration on their stomach. So I was looking for a male black bar silver dollar, and I ended up finding one from someone that I traded fish to before and bought fish from. He said he had like an 8 to 10-inch one that he was looking to rehome. So I said I would take it. I'll pay whatever price you want. So he lived about 2 hours away from me. So he made the 2 hour drive to bring the fish to me. And when he brought the fish to me, it was a good 8 to 9 inches, like you said it would be, but it did not have the orange color that I was expecting. But nonetheless, knowing that this fish was quite rare, I asked, "What do you want for it?" And he said $500. So, being a naive 16-year-old, I gave him $500 in cash, cash, cash. And he went home with $500. He was happier than a pig in shit, let me tell you, because he knew he probably ripped me off. Um, So I go to find out he sold more black bar silver dollars to other people for guess how much? $150 he made. So he ripped me off by 375, 400. So I was an idiot for doing that. And that's not the only time I overpaid for fish. There was a time I went to another fish store with a person that I also considered a friend, and he ripped me off severely multiple times as well. So it happens. There are hobbyists in this aquarium hobby that will take advantage of other hobbyists who are passionate about fish keeping. It's one of the most saddest things that comes with the aquarium hobby is that people are here to rip off aquarium hobbyists and take them for a ride and take their money. So my advice to all fish keepers is to research the fish you want to buy and research their price range. And you can see if that person is asking a reasonable price or if they're trying to rob you. And if you ever have any questions about a fish's price range, I can answer that for you because I bought many different species of fish. You can email me at alexgoyankeescardinale19@gmail.com, or you can contact me on Facebook, and I'll be happy to let you know my thoughts on if that fish is overpriced or decently priced. All right. So my friend Big Tank Cake is joining our show. Thank you for tuning in, Big Tank Cake. I hope you appreciate the show. All right, sorry about that. I had to help my uncle with something. So thank you, Big Tank Cake, for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying our episode today. All right. So my next mistake that I'm going to talk about that I have done plenty of times is Steve's Aquatics in the house. Steve, how you doing? Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. My two most loyal viewers are in the house today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. All right, so my next mistake is another one that is very common in the aquarium hobby, and that is adding too much fish food, feeding way too much food. That happens to me a lot. I have predatory fish. As you guys know, I have chocolate cichlid, Oscars, arowanas, and catfish. So most of the time, I have to feed a lot of food to make sure all my fish are fed. But the byproduct of feeding so much food is that your water quality can deteriorate and your fish is going to produce a lot of waste. So you're going to have to end up doing a lot of water changes, and you're going to end up having to continually get new filter media every 4 weeks or so. So what I would recommend is do smaller feedings. You could do multiple smaller feedings throughout the day instead of one large feeding. And that is what I thought. That is what I've been doing for the last year and a half. So I feed like my pellets at noon, and then I feed the market shrimp or tilapia or earthworms like at 10 o'clock at night. 10 o'clock at night is usually um, when the catfish would come out to eat in the wild anyway, when it's dark outside. So that is what I recommend to avoid putting too much food in the aquarium. So if you're a beginner and you have a community aquarium, you might ask, how much is too much? Well, if you put a lot of food in your aquarium and it sinks to the bottom and all the fish have not gotten to it, that is too much. So one rule of thumb that I learned from an old fish store owner is to take about one small pinch and put it in and feed just until all the food is gone. And if the fish are still hungry, add another small pinch, and that should be it for the feeding until the next time you feed. So I know it's a mistake a lot of people make, and I myself have personally made that simple mistake. All right. So my next mistake is a very common mistake for predatory fish keepers like myself, and that is putting small fish in with big fish and them ending up being lunch. Now, I'm not talking about putting neon tetras in with Oscars or anything like that. I'm talking about buying maybe like a 2 to 3 inch Jack Dempsey or a small monster fish and putting it in with like a 5 to 6 inch Oscar. And I've had that happen many times. An Oscar would eat a fish that I thought was way too big for its mouth, but the Oscar got greedy and tried to eat it. So unfortunately, I've lost a couple of fish that way. The most recent one was a 2 to 3 inch limeless shovel nose with a 6 inch Oscar, and that was in 2019. But I learned from that mistake, and now I buy fish that I know are too big to be eaten. So if you have predatory fish or larger fish in general, try to buy as big as possible. And I know it's hard sometimes because sometimes you special order a fish and it comes in smaller than expected at the local fish store. So maybe you have to set up another tank, but that's better than having that fish get eaten by a much larger fish. All right. So my next mistake coming in at number 5, and this is something that I talked about um, a couple months ago, and that is selling and rehoming fish to the wrong people. I've had this happen to me many times over my years in the aquarium hobby. Most recently, this happened back in, I want to say, July, August, or September. So I was rehoming a wild caught tiger shovel nose and a wild caught marba acara catfish that I had raised from juvenile stages all the way to 14 inches. So I put an ad on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace saying I would give these catfish to someone who had a large aquarium for like $20 or $30. And I got a response from an older gentleman saying he had a 300-gallon aquarium and he came and picked up the catfish. And he sweet talked me, told me that these guys were going to go in his 300-gallon aquarium. He even showed me a picture of his 300-gallon aquarium. So he got them and then he went on his way. So about 20, 30 minutes later, I decided I was going to go to the local fish store because I had to get more prime and fish food and, of course, something to put in the aquarium to replace those monsters. So I went there and I saw that one of the employees was acclimating fish to their big monster display aquarium. So, of course, me being a monster fish lover, I had to see what was being acclimated. So I went to the bucket, and lo and behold, I see my marble acara and the tiger shovel nose, and I was like, "What the heck are they doing here?" So I walk around the store, thinking maybe someone else had identical catfish because it is possible, but in the African cichlid section, there is the guy that purchased those catfish from me. I saw him, he saw me, he went the other way trying to avoid me, but I ended up following him and asking him what he was doing, and he just walked out of the store like he didn't even know who I was. So I asked the owner, what is that guy doing with those fish? And he said that he was trading them in, and he ended up getting like $75 in store credit for that. So basically, he got like a $50 profit by bringing them to the fish store. That is not giving them an adequate home. If I wanted to get store credit and if I wanted to bring them to the local fish store, I could have done that myself. So the moral of the story is if you're going to rehome tropical fish, including monster fish, make sure you do your research on the person that is buying the fish. make sure that they show you pictures of the aquarium. But it's not guaranteed that they're going to be an honest person. In Massachusetts, I sold fish to a guy that wasn't well known in the aquarium hobby. And what I mean by that, he did not know how to take care of fish properly. And all his fish got ick. And he blamed me. He made posts on Craigslist and some of the local fish forums saying that I sold him sick fish. But in reality, the fish that I gave him were totally healthy. And he himself had made the fish sick. So if you have to rehome fish, try to do it to someone that is very experienced in the aquarium hobby. All right. So my next big fish keeping mistake is underselling tropical fish. Sometimes you're in a rush to rehome fish that you have to ask for less than market price. And I have done that a lot over the years. The tiger shovelnose and marble cara come to mind. And then, of course, I've given away fish for free that I should not have given away, like flagtail procholotus, not recently, but years ago, flagtail procholotus and things like that. You put a lot of money into raising these fish by feeding them, doing water changes, housing them. So you should make a little something back when you're looking to rehome them. All right. My next mistake is a saltwater mistake. This was after I cycled a 120 saltwater aquarium. I had it cycling for about a good month. And after that month, I went to the local fish store and my water tested fine. The guy said you can buy some fish. So I bought a pair of clownfish, I bought a goby, a tang, I forgot what kind of tang it was, and I bought something else. Maybe it was some sort of trigger. So I brought them home, I acclimated them, and everything was fine for a few days. Then on a weekend, I woke up and there was white spots all over the fish, and it was velvet. So I was devastated. I went to the fish store, told the guy what was going on, and he recommended I purchase copper, and I put copper in the aquarium, but it was too late. When I got home, half of the fish were dead, and by the next day, the whole entire tank was dead. So basically, I had killed everything by adding way too many fish at one time. And if the fish store guy would have just told me this pair of clowns is enough for now, I would have avoided that costly mistake. So if anyone is considering getting into the saltwater hobby, when you're adding fish to a newly cycled aquarium, make sure you're only adding a few at a time. This can also go for the freshwater side. You don't want to add too many fish at once to a cycled aquarium. Freshwater fish are much more hardier than saltwater, but still, in a new cycled aquarium, don't add too many fish at once to save yourself any trouble. So my friend Steve has a great point. One major mistake people make is breeding a very common fish and then realize you can't get rid of them. Example, convicts have hundreds of babies and nobody wants them. You are spot on with that mistake. I didn't even think of that. Convicts come to mind, platies, mollies, and guppies come to mind, and swordtails. What else? Snails come to mind. So those are all fish that get bred constantly and there's nowhere to put them. Most fish stores will turn you down because they get those fish from their suppliers. I mean, the true, honest to God fish stores who have a love for the aquarium hobby, they will purchase your convicts that you've bred and your live bearers, but they will do so the cheapest rate. You'll get like a penny per fish, or maybe a dime or a nickel or a quarter per fish at most. So you're not going to get much from breeding these guys. A lot of people think they're going to get profit from breeding convicts or whatever it is, but simply not true. The only fish that you can breed to make a profit would probably be fancy guppies, discus, African cichlids, and those fish take dedication and definitely experience. So that was a very, very good point. But on the plus side, if people breed convicts, those are great feeders for monster fish keepers like myself. All right, so I'm down to my final two fish keeping mistakes. And my second mistake is taking in fish way too big for my aquarium. So over the years, I have rescued fish before. I'm not nothing like Ohio Fish Rescue or anything like that, but I've taken in overgrown pacu, overgrown Oscars, iridescent sharks, and plecostomus. And I had them in 75 gallons to 125-gallon aquariums until I found someone who could take them and provide them a bigger home. But for the weeks and months that I've had them, they constantly destroyed my water quality, and I had to work hard on restoring the perfect water conditions that I had before I had them. Because big fish eat a lot, they produce a lot of waste, and that's going to put a lot of strain on your filtration system. So keep that in mind. Now, I am not afraid to say no to fish rescues if I feel I cannot handle that fish, or if I don't think I can find a home within a few days. So I have turned down a large tiger shovelnose a couple of months ago. I have turned down a large arowana a few weeks ago, and I have turned down an illegal fish just because I don't want to get in trouble. And I know if I had that fish, it would be big, big financial consequences. So people buy fish and they don't know what it is. It outgrows their aquarium and they're in a hurry to get rid of it. So luckily, I was able to refer those people to a fish rescue here in Florida. Not sure if they went through with it, but at least I gave them the resources to take those fish. And of course, that illegal fish that I was talking about is the invasive American species known as the snakehead. So I can't believe someone actually had one in an aquarium. I am not sure how they got a snakehead, and I'm not sure why they thought I would take it. But I basically just told them to euthanize it. That would be their best option at this point. So now when people contact me about taking in fish, I ask what kind of fish, what size, and all the details. And if I can, I will. I haven't rescued any fish since I took in that red Oscar and that tinfoil bar that were in a tank with African cichlids. And I probably cannot take any more fish in at this point until I get my bigger aquarium. All right. And the final big mistake, and this is one that happens a lot in this aquarium hobby, and that is buying fish without research. I am guilty of this. If I see a fish that I like at the fish store, chances are I'm going to buy it. Now, I have grown a lot more experienced in the aquarium hobby, and I have knowledge on most species, but there are some that I don't know much about. I have not bought a fish that I don't know about in a long time, but maybe 5 years ago, I bought a fish that looked pretty cool, and it turned out to be a fish that was going to outgrow my aquarium. It was an emperor angelfish. It was back when I had a 125-gallon saltwater display aquarium, and I thought the emperor angel looked pretty cool, so I bought him, and I found out the hard way that emperor angels are picky eaters, and they grow quite large. But I got lucky because mine ate Hikari frozen saltwater food. He ate clams, and he ate tilapia and market shrimp. So I lucked out there. So my advice to you, if you see a fish you like at the local fish store, do some research. Learn how to care for this fish, and you should be good to go. Just make sure you research every fish species that you are interested in, because you don't know if the fish is aggressive or if it's going to grow too large for your aquarium. We have Google on our phones to help us. So just take out your phone at the fish store and research the name of that fish that you see in the aquarium. All right, this was a rather fun episode tonight. I had a blast talking about my 10 biggest mistakes. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I apologize for the interruption from my uncle and the phone calls that he had, but this was a really fun show. So my friend Steve has another mistake that he's going to mention. He says, never try to change your water chemistry to match a particular fish. Example, changing the pH of your water. This never works. That is well said. I definitely agree with you 100%. Um, a good example of this would be if I was interested in keeping frontosia cichlids, then I would go get the frontosia, and then I would buy pH buffer, which brings the pH up in your aquarium. And what that would do is that would cause stress on my South American fish, who require a pH of 6.4 to 7.4. Now, if I added the pH buffer, that would bring the pH to about 7.6 to 7.8, which is out of South American range. So while it would benefit the frontosia, it would cause the rest of the aquarium to go into distress and possibly get ick and other diseases and die. So what you can do in this case is you can acclimate the brand new fish that you want to get to your water parameters. Just do it very slowly, like maybe a 30-minute floating method. So you're going to float the bag for 30 minutes, and then you're going to take a drip line and pour some of the water in the bag out, and then you can slowly drip in water from your aquarium for the next hour or so until the fish gets used to their new parameters, and you can add the fish that way. And it'll work that way in the long run, because then that new fish will get used to your pH. Um, However, I used to think that frontosians could never live in South American pH, but they absolutely can, because at my local fish store, they're being kept with South American geophagus at a pH of 7.2. So I think it's a pretty cool idea. If you can get beyond the idea of fish from different continents living together, I think it's a great combination. I will have to try to fight that. I'm trying to avoid getting frontosia because it's kind of difficult seeing an African fish with South American fish. But if I can get over that fear, I think it would be a great combination. So I'm glad you tuned in, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because that is something that is very important when it comes to the aquarium hobby. So freshwater are very versatile. Most of the freshwater species, they can be adjusted and they can be added to different water parameters. However, saltwater fish, corals, and inverts aren't that easy. And it's very rare that you can add different levels of water parameters, livestock, successfully, if that makes any sense. All right. So this was a great show tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I had a blast talking to you about my 10 aquarium mistakes. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can learn from my aquarium mistakes so you too don't make the same mistakes that I did, especially for overpaying for tropical fish, or rehoming fish to irresponsible fish keepers, or buying fish without research. Always make sure to get aquarium water conditioner when doing water changes. So a big thank you to Big Tank Tank and my friend Steve for tuning in live. And all the fish keepers that watched this video, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale, for more wonderful episodes of Aqua Alex Live. Tomorrow night, right after I get out of work, I have a special crossover episode of Storytime with Aqua Alex, and I'll be talking about the tragedy I had in 2011 when I was living in Massachusetts during a big winter storm where I lost my entire fish room. And at the end of that video, I will tell you how to stay safe and keep your fish tank safe during a big blizzard. So that's going to be tomorrow night, Friday, November 19th, 11:15 p.m. Eastern, 8:15 p.m. Pacific. So that's going to be a fun show as well. Hey, June, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in towards the end of the show, but you can watch the beginning in the replay. It's been a long time since I've heard from you, so it's great to see you back on my channel. Long-time loyal supporter. I really appreciate that. Now on the bottom of my screen, I have my Cash App and my Zelle and my Patreon. Those are ways you can support the show to make sure that I can continue to deliver quality episodes. But of course, you don't have to support the show financially. You just being here watching the video is a great support in itself. All right, guys, have a great rest of your night, a great Friday, and I will see you on the next episode of Aqua Alex Live. Take on, fish keepers, and enjoy the aquarium hobby. Aqua Alex Cardinale here, and I'm here to announce the Ultimate Aquarium Hobbyist Giveaway. On Sunday, March 6, 2022, I will proudly celebrate my 8th year as a YouTuber. And to celebrate and say thank you to all the amazing aquarium hobbyists and tropical fish keepers who have supported my YouTube channel over the last 8 years, I am doing the Ultimate Aquarium Hobbyist Giveaway. There are 3 amazing prizes. The first prize is a $100 gift certificate to Tangled Up in Cichlids. Tangled Up in Cichlids is home to many awesome South and Central American cichlids such as Oscars, Severums, Waru, Angelfish, Jack Dempsey's, Viajas, and much more. They also have catfish, plecos, cherisons, and even African cichlids. The second prize is a $100 gift certificate to Aquatic Rarities, Inc., aka Malone's Monsters. Now, Bob at Malone's Monsters and Aquatic Rarities is a true aquarium hobbyist with a love for monster fish and tropical fish in general. You will find things like lungfish, Lipterus, arowanas, four-eyed anablips, and more cool oddball fish at Aquatic Rarities. And the last prize giveaway, and the third prize, is Little Egypt Aquarium Club gift certificate donated by Little Egypt Aquarium Club founder Jeremy Stellhorn. Now, on the Little Egypt Aquarium Club website, you will find aquarium supplies for sale, like Fluval FX6 canister filter, hang on the back filters, aquarium heaters, and some awesome tropical fish food. you will be able to use that gift certificate to purchase some amazing aquarium supplies. So, aquarium hobbyists, to enter this giveaway, it's really simple. All you need to do is film a video of your aquarium and your tropical fish. In the video, talk about your favorite tropical fish species. Then tell me about what new fish you want to get and what aquarium supplies you can use. So, since Tangled Up in Cichlids and Aquatic Rarities only supply freshwater fish, it is beneficial for freshwater hobbyists to enter. However, saltwater hobbyists are encouraged to enter as well. And if a saltwater hobbyist wins, they will win a gift card to either Live Aquaria or Blue Zoo Aquatics, provided that the winner is a saltwater hobbyist. So all you've got to do is film a video of your aquarium and your fish, and also talk about your favorite tropical fish species, talk about what new fish you want to get, and what aquarium supplies you can use. Email your video to alexgoyankeescardinale19@gmail.com by no later than March 1st, 2022. In your email, leave your name, your contact information in case you win, and of course, your video. Each video entry will be uploaded to my channel and in my giveaway playlist. The top 3 videos with the most views and likes will be the 3 winners, and they will be announced live on March 6, 2022 during my 8-year YouTube anniversary celebration live stream. Good luck, aquarium hobbyists. This contest is open to every aquarium hobbyist, whether freshwater or saltwater, and any aquarium hobbyist in the United States of America. So enter right now. Good luck, and I can't wait to see your videos. Remember, the deadline to enter, March 1st. Hey, Alex Cardinale here. It's November, and that means it's Thanksgiving season and the start of holiday season. Thanksgiving is the time of year where we're all thankful for being alive, being healthy, and having a great family. Thanksgiving is a holiday where we get together with our family and have a delicious meal with turkey and all the fixings. For the first time ever on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale, I will be hosting my inaugural Thanksgiving Day Bash. It will air live on Thanksgiving Day, Thursday, November 25th, 2021, at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. I will give you turkey cooking tips. I'll also give you Thanksgiving cooking tips, and I'll have some other wonderful Thanksgiving themed topics. And I will also preview NFL on Thanksgiving Day. Don't miss Thanksgiving Day Bash live this Thanksgiving, November 25th, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on the legendary Alex Cardinale YouTube channel. Happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you on Thanksgiving Day. Thank you for watching this episode of Aqua Alex Live here on my YouTube channel, the legendary Alex Cardinale. I hope you, the amazing tropical fish keepers, enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to leave a like on today's video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Legendary Alex Cardinale, if you enjoyed this video, to see some more awesome episodes of Aqua Alex Live. Tank on, fish keepers, and I'll see you on the next Aqua Alex Live.